The senator from the great state of Alabama, Coach Tommy Tuberville, is on the line. Sir, good to have you back with us.
Hey, Vince, how you doing? It's been a great week.
It has been a great week, and I know that you fought really hard for this outcome, not just with the presidency, but in the United States Senate as well, where, at least for the moment, Republicans have 53 votes so far. How you feeling about that?
Yep, great, awesome. I felt like we'd get between 51 and 54. The Democrats have basically they've run the country in the ground. We got a lot of Democrat votes. I travel from coast to coast for 6 weeks, and we've got some great people that are coming to the Senate. I just talked to Carrie Lake on the phone. She's getting even closer. There's 800,000 ballots left, and she's within, I think 30,000 votes. But everything's coming her way. I'd love to get her up here in the United States Senate. But it's been a great week. Man, our country is in bad trouble. The only guy that can even come close to turning this around and get us away from this socialism and communism is Donald Trump. He's going to put together a great team, and I'm looking forward to having a majority in the Senate for the first time in 4 years since I've been here. So it's going to be a great time.
And as President Trump puts that team together, he's going to be able to present some of those secretary nominations early in the year, even before his inauguration, correct? The Senate can get about the business of doing those confirmation hearings right away.
Oh, yeah, we got to go to work. I mean, 4 years is a short period of time to undo the damage that the Democrats have done in the last 4 years. And this God looked down on us, Vince. I'm telling you, it's a godsend that Trump's made it through this election. Now we see today he's even had more assassination attempts being planned against him, but he seems to just keep on plodding on and keeping the American citizens in our country in the sights of becoming better. The world is on fire, but you saw today where the EU said, we're going to start buying more oil from America and not Russia. When you have leaders in this country that are strong and people they might not like, but they respect, they start to do the things that are right, not just for them, but for the whole world.
You're right about prayers being answered, by the way, for President Trump and this election. And I was just thinking, as you said that, I was like, I have to pray as fervently my prayers of gratitude as I did my prayers before the election. I've got to make good. I got to make right with God here because I am grateful for the outcome.
Oh, I tell you, I've been nervous. I've been working hard just so I wouldn't have to think about it because I've seen it for 4 years, the destruction of the Democratic Party and taking us to globalism and socialism. Just the one thing, the border has been an absolute disaster. And they've been telling her, the border's closed, everything will be fine. And it is costing a fortune and it's going to bring us to our knees. And I can't wait to start deporting these people. Now you have these governors and mayors coming out. You're not sending our people home. Hey, you better get out of the damn way because the man is coming. And we're going to get it done for the American people and not for these woke governors and woke mayors.
Yeah, it's too crazy. So in the United States Senate, in order to successfully execute the vision of the American people, it's going to take good leadership. And right now, there are a few Republicans, 3 of them at least, who have thrown their hat in the ring to be the next Republican leader. Those are Senators John Cornyn, John Thune, and Rick Scott. Give us your impression, Senator Tuberville, of this race. Is there a preferred candidate for you here, and whoever it is, what should their obligation be?
Well, first of all, it is leadership, and you have to have somebody in a leadership role that basically gets it all together and say, okay, what are we going to do? And then they go out and represent our group, to the media. Now, I'm sick of the media to begin with, so I could care less. I don't really care who the leader is, to be honest with you. It's not going to make one hill of beans. The leader of the United States Senate, for the next 2 years, as we've got majority, is going to be Donald Trump and J.D. Vance. We being the people of the Senate, they better get on the bandwagon. Not a lot of them in the Republican side was on the bandwagon for President Trump now. I was the first one to come out and say, listen, I'm behind him 100%. And they all looked at me going, what, I can't win? What, are you nuts? But I'm going to tell you something. They've come around, vocally and saying, they're behind Donald Trump now after he won the nomination. Of course, they're going to do that because they're politicians. But I could care less. President Trump's going to run this Senate. He's going to run the House. We better do what he says. He's got a plan because nobody in the House and nobody in the Senate has been able to get a plan together to get us out of this mess. And let's let him and confirm the people that he needs to put in the higher positions to get this country back going again. Because right now we're swimming upstream, and the waves are hitting us right in the face. And the only guy that can get it done is President Trump. And so all my colleagues up there that are trying to wrestle around and get this leadership, it doesn't mean a hill of beans. It's all about how we support J.D. Vance, who's the president of the Senate, by the way, and Donald Trump, who's the president of the United States, and let them tell us what to do and let us get on board and go with it and quit this, I want to be the leader and I want to be the whip and all this. We got some good people, but it doesn't make a hill of beans.
Right. But I know that a lot of Americans do care about whether or not McConnell continues to be sort of the driving force in the Senate. Obviously, McConnell's leaving, but two of the guys I just mentioned, John Thune and John Cornyn, are seen as his proteges, his as NBC describes them as his trusted lieutenants. Is it a problem to kind of continue the McConnell era in the form of either of those two men?
They both came to me knowing that I'm a friend of President Trump's about 6-7 months ago. And I said, what do you think? I want to be the leader, and when McConnell's not going to be in, that's the first thing you need to do. Don't worry about the people in the Senate. You need to get your butt on a plane, fly to Mar-a-Lago, and sit down with a guy that's going to control all this. And John Thune went down, had good conversations, maybe 2 of them, maybe 3 of them. John Cornyn did the same thing. Rick Scott's had a lot of conversations. Again, Mitch McConnell's not running the Senate anymore. He's done. He's had his time in the sun. He's going off and he's got to vote just like I do. He doesn't have any authority unless he puts himself in the appropriations, which probably he will do because he's got that opportunity because he's been there longer than Susan Collins in that role. So, I mean, he will be listened to, but not any more than anybody else. So, John Thune and John Cornyn and Rick Scott, they know what's in front of them, and the train will run right over top of them if they don't get on the same train as Donald Trump.
Yeah.
100% of the time, starting January the 20th, and we got to go forward. We don't have long. We got to take advantage of it because the people on the other side are going to do everything they can to stop us, delay us, destroy us, make us look bad. And we got to put them out of our sights. We got to put them out of our range of listening and get behind President Trump and J.D. Vance and get this country going again and go by our Constitution. And again, President Trump has got a hard job. It's going to be almost impossible, but if anybody can do it, he can do it. He knows he's got to cut the head off the snake of the IRS, the FBI, the CIA, the military, EPA. Our country's in a tailspin. I mean, we are not the country where we were when President Trump came out of office, and we've got to get control of it, and we got to get it going in the right direction with people like Robert Kennedy Jr. and Elon Musk. Now they're going to have something to say about it. Tucker Carlson and the media, he's been outstanding. I was with him last week with Bernie Moreno in Ohio. We've got great people. We've got to just all get on the same page and get this damn ego out of our mind and know that we represent the people and not ourselves.
Yeah, I'm glad for any leadership change, and you're right about all of that. They better get in line with the vision of the American people, because President Trump learned what it was like to work with people who he thought were on his side and then undermined him. And I'm talking about in Congress. He talks a lot about how Paul Ryan sold him on, hey, if you pass this budget, we'll get your wall funding. They passed the budget, no wall funding. It never happened, and he felt betrayed, rightfully so, because he said he made a promise to the American people, and Congress kept getting in his way.
You're exactly right. And Paul Ryan, he put us under. Several other people. You got these mouthpieces out there that talk. Let's get something done. We're not going to have another chance. This chance fell into our lap because the Democrats were stupid, and they opened the borders, and they didn't. Men can have babies, and women and men and women's sports. They couldn't have done anything better for us than just go absolutely nuts. Now let's take advantage of what they've given us, because if we ever give them the leadership role back, it is going to be over for the American people.
Another piece of why the Senate leadership fight actually matters is because of how money is spent on Senate races. And this past election was an indication that it seems to have been very poorly appropriated in some cases. Larry Hogan got his rear end handed to him in Maryland, and yet there was all sorts of money dumped into that race at the national level. Meanwhile, you have, as Ben Domenech points out today very wisely, people like Sam Brown and Eric Hovde and Mike Rogers who lost by very narrow margins and didn't get the kind of support that Larry Hogan got. What's going on there, Senator Tuberville?
Well, my thoughts are, if we're going to make some changes with this Senate, we get away from allowing the leader of the Senate to go out and because of his name, he can raise $500 million, right? And he's got it at his disposal. So what he does, he goes out and he starts cherry picking people that he can get behind and support that are going to come in and vote for them for a leader again. That's wrong. We need a leader that go out there and raise the money, and then we need a committee within our group that decides where the money goes. One person controlling $500 million in an election to be able to get votes from those people when they get elected is wrong. And that's something that needs to be corrected. And again, we've got the NRSC. We should have the leadership pact. I'm fine with that. But the leader should be on that committee, but he shouldn't control it. It should be a 3 or 4 person committee that controls it. And you're exactly right. Kari Lake, she is within a whisker of winning in Arizona, a corrupt place that has had 2 terrible back-to-back elections in terms of counting votes and all those things. And she could have had much more money, along with Sam Brown. My gosh, there's no common sense used in it, Vince.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I hope common sense prevails going forward, and that's what the fight's all about. Senator Tommy Tuberville, congratulations again on all of your efforts paying off this week. I know you fought really hard for a lot of these victories, and they came to pass. Thank you, sir. Always good to talk to you.
Thank you, Vince. We got a chance. Let's take advantage of it.
Amen. Thank you very much. Senator Tommy Tuberville, the great state of Alabama.